Hey there, I'm professional psychic Karen Marie, and this is Psyched Up Sundays for January 29th, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in. In this video, I'll be talking about the transits for this upcoming week. Transits are like the astrological weather forecast. And just a little bit of review coming into this week. We've had the three planets that were retrograde in January, Mercury, Mars, and Uranus, all have moved forward now. They're stationed direct. However, Mercury and Mars are still in their shadow zones, which means we can still feel the lingering effects of Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde. So Mercury retrograde can affect our communications, our technology, our transportation. We can find glitches with our phone, with our computers, with conversations with people in all the ways that we communicate, whether that's on social media, directly, in text and emails, snail mail. All that can get glitched up with Mercury retrograde. It gets out of its shadow February 7th. So we have a little over a week to go before it clears its shadow. So if you're experiencing the Mercury retrograde feels like it's still lingering, you're not alone. Mars was retrograde from the end of October until the middle of January. It's moving forward now. It still hasn't gotten back up to its speed or cleared its shadow. It won't clear its shadow till the middle of March. However, the fact that it's moving forward and all planets are direct now is the great time to move forward in your life in whatever way. If you've been waiting to launch something or feeling procrastination around certain areas of your life, you may find that those start to lift and you actually feel motivated to begin moving forward. So that's the positive news about the forward moving planets. We have the moon in Taurus right now. I'll talk about the transits of the moon that will be happening for this week. On a daily basis, I post my 1-minute videos here on this channel, also on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So please do check those out because I will usually be talking about whatever transit is most potent and powerful that day and draw a card. But even if I don't talk about what's going on with the moon because there's other aspects that are important, in the hashtags below the video, I always put where the moon is. So if you want to begin to learn about transits, that's where I suggest you start, by paying attention to where the moon is and what you notice, what you're feeling, what you get accomplished, what the people around you are doing. Just take notes. That's the great place to start with learning transits. The other thing is to pay attention to the sun, and it takes 30 days to go through a sign. So what do you feel? What areas of your life feel highlighted as the sun moves through a sign? That's the other thing that's just beginning places to start paying attention to. Trines, sextiles, squares, that stuff used to always make my eyes go cross. When I first started trying to learn about astrology, it was like, oh no, that's too much information. But I just began to learn a little bit at a time, I learned about what all the signs meant first. Then I learned about the planets and what they all meant, and then what it meant for the signs to be in each planet. Then I started learning about the houses. Then I started learning about the transits. So anyway, that's the order that I went about learning astrology over decades. But at any rate, if you just bite off a little bit, you can begin to learn more and more. I think it's fascinating myself. I'm an astrology nerd. I can't get enough. I'm always watching YouTube videos of other astrologers, reading a zillion astrology books. I just love this stuff. I can't get enough. And there's so much to learn. I'll probably get to 100 years old and I still won't have learned it all. So the sun is in Aquarius right now. It's about 1/3 of the way through its transit through Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign. It's the two vibey waves. It's humanity all vibing together. It's the future. It's new. It's different. It's doing things outside the box. So you may find that you want to start something new. You want to do something that's inventive. You may want to do some computer programming or something that's high end. Uranus rules Aquarius. Uranus is the upper octave of Mercury. So you think of Mercury representing communication. Uranus represents our communication with psychic, our guides, or spiritual downloads. Mercury represents computers, phones, or whatever. Uranus is the high-tech aspect of our phones, our computers. It's AI, right? Those kind of things. If Mercury represents our cars traveling on the ground, Uranus represents air flight or flight in outer space. So that's just an example of the Uranus. So it is the great awakener. So as the sun is moving through Aquarius, these energies are ripe and up and strong, and Uranus itself is activated. Uranus is activated as well because it turned around in the skies last week and went direct. Now, are these planets really moving backwards when they're retrograde? No, it's like an optical illusion. Say you're driving down a highway and you pass up a car. You're going faster than they are. You pass them up. If you look in your rearview mirror, it looks like they're moving backwards. Are they moving backwards? No, you're just moving faster, right? So that's where that optical illusion of retrograde actually comes from. So, but in astrology, it makes things kind of kinky. It's like a cord that gets all kinked up when planets go backwards. So now all planets are direct. Even though we still have to get out of the shadow of Mercury and Mars, everything's forward moving. So it's a great time to initiate new things. All planets will be direct until April, and Mercury does its next retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. Every few months, it has a retrograde cycle. The retrograde period usually lasts a few weeks. If you add the shadow end on both times, it's more like 6 weeks. But it's an ongoing thing. It's just like, okay, we have to deal with rain, or we have to deal with the brutal heat here in Austin in the summertime. We just have to deal with Mercury retrograde. Retrogrades are a great time to go back in and review and rethink and go over things. And retrogrades often bring in loves from the past lives, or people that you've been in a relationship before. That even if they cross your mind and you don't actually see them or you don't get messages from them, often will be more inclined to be thinking about exes when planets are retrograde, or like right now while they're still in their shadow. So if you're wondering why an ex keeps popping up on your mind, for one thing, you both may be thinking of each other, and you may be psychically picking up on that. And maybe one of the scenarios that's going on, but it's classic during retrograde periods for exes to kind of come up in your psyche. Okay, Aquarius is the 11th house in the astrological wheel. It's our groups, our networks. When we connect with a circle of people, when we're with our band, we're with our church group or our synagogue or our temple or a drum circle or our yoga class or whatever our friends circle. It's groups of people. So with the sun moving through Aquarius, you may want to seek out new places where people hang together. That may be one of the ways that this transit could show up in your life. All right, I'm going to go over some of the highlights I see for this week. So the moon is in Taurus as we start this week. Tonight, it will trine, which is a positive connection, Pluto in Capricorn. Death and transformation. There could be a rebirth of sorts. The moon represents our intuition, our inner world. So when we have aspects with the moon, we can feel it on an internal level most often. We also have 2 beautiful trines this evening. The sun is in a trine with Mars. So the sun is in Aquarius, Mars is in Gemini. This is a great time to feel energized. In fact, it may be difficult to sleep tonight because we're all stirred up. And let me also stop and say that anytime I talk about transits, we can feel transits ahead of time. We can feel them after they pass. So just because I say something's happening at a certain time or a certain day, you may go, yeah, I've been feeling that for the last couple of days, especially if it's big personal planets that are in an aspect. The moon moves through things pretty quickly, so it's where experiences when it's aspecting other planets is more quick. We go through that more quickly. But so Mars is the planet of taking action. The sun will illuminate that, so we could get inspired about new things we want to start, for example. It could be difficult to sleep because we might feel extra energized, extra hyped up. Mercury is also in a trine with Uranus. Like I said, Uranus is the upper octave of Mercury. Mercury is the messenger. Uranus also brings messages, so you could have like some powerful conversations, powerful downloads from spirit or your intuition, surprising, out of nowhere, inspired aha moments, realizations, these are all in the air this evening. And again, you may have been feeling them earlier in the day. You could linger into tomorrow to feel these transits. Then tomorrow, on Monday the 30th, the moon will move into Gemini at 2:34 a.m. So this is a transit from an earth sign into an air sign. Gemini's the twins. We have a tendency to bop up in our heads a lot because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So we could be going, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Like a lot of ideas, a lot of innovation. People who have Gemini moon in their natal chart can find that they're too much in their head a lot, like bat things back where they're supposed to be feeling things out and intuiting them out. It could be a challenging aspect to just like, instead of feeling it, that you're like, oops, let me think about this, right? So that's just one way, but we all can have that tendency as the moon moves through Gemini. So the moon will continue to move through Gemini into Tuesday, the 31st. I'm not going to go into all the different aspects that the moon will be making. I may go into those on my daily, so check those out if you're interested in knowing what aspects the moon is having doing those transits. On the 1st, February the 1st, it's a Wednesday. At 1:26 p.m., the sun in Aquarius will sextile, that's a positive relationship, Chiron in Aries. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. In our birth chart, wherever Chiron shows up, we've had woundedness in past lives that shows up early in this lifetime, is usually a place where we get triggered over and over and over again. The transiting Chiron is usually a different aspect. We're all dealing with the transiting Chiron, which is in the mid-decan of Aries. And I feel like in this place, in this decan of Aries, we're healing how we may have felt about ourselves, Aries, in relationship to other people. Other people, do they like me? Do they not like me? Those kind of things, like, you know, how you felt about yourself in grade school could get triggered. Like if you felt like you were the ugly duckling, or you didn't have any friends, or, you know, nobody could understand you, or nobody listens. These could be issues that get triggered as we have aspects with the Chiron in the mid-decan of Aries. The sun illuminates. So, and the sextile is a positive connection. So if you get triggered, it should come with some insight into how to let it go, how to release whatever the wounding is. So that's a positive, that we could get some insights into how to feel better about ourselves, really. And like not care what somebody else thinks, right? What you think is your problem, it's not mine. What you think of me is your problem. What I think of me is what is important. So the more you fortify yourself, the better you feel about yourself, the less damage someone else can do, either in social media or your boss at work or that parent you just can't get along with or whatever. At 2:11 p.m. on Wednesday the 1st, the moon will go into Cancer. This shift is one of the easiest to feel because going from this air sign, frenetic energy, into water is a big shift. And when the moon moves through Cancer, I've seen it classically. So this was one of the first transits that popped out for me when I was paying attention, was that I got more emotionally sensitive and the people around me did. More crying, more anger, more volatile emotional state, but also more psychic sensitivity. Easier to pick up on what your intuition is guiding you to do. So that is our midweek energy. Again, that happens at 2:11 p.m. Austin, Texas time. The moon will move into Cancer. Then on Thursday, the moon aspects a square with Jupiter, a trine with Venus and Pisces. That's really lovely. And then a sextile with the North Node. Venus in Pisces will sextile the North Node in Taurus. So Venus just moved into Pisces this last week. It loves it in Pisces. Venus is about love, relationships, how we receive energy, what we love, and who we love. It's also our money and finances. In Pisces, it's easy to be psychic and spiritual, and just it's a beautiful, ethereal energy. We may feel more creative, more musical, more artistic. So that's a really nice energy going on. the sextile with the North Node. The North Node is what our soul wants to be learning right now. And so the North Node moving through Taurus is teaching us about valuing ourselves. One of the many things is about how do we value ourselves? How are we taking care of our physical body? The Venus sextiling this could be a great day to just have this insight into how to love ourselves better. We also may pull people into our life that really do value us and show us that they do, with this aspect prominent on Thursday the 2nd. On Friday the 3rd, at 8:50 p.m., the Sun in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus. Now, this could be a challenging aspect because Uranus throws curveballs. A square is a contentious relationship, and this is a square between the ruler of Aquarius, where the Sun is, and the Sun. So the Uranus will have the upper hand in this. So it could be uncomfortable surprises, like disconcerting things, rebelliousness, just wanting to go F this and break out of the box could happen. And it's a message. You could get like surprising, unwanted messages. These are just different ways that it could show up on Friday, 8:50 p.m. On Saturday at 2:48 a.m., the moon moves into Leo. Leo rules the 5th house in the astrological wheel. This is the house of romance, creativity, children. So as the moon, it's also our inner child. So we could want to follow some passionate things that we've done as children. Our romances may heat up that day. We may have strong interactions with our children, if you have them, or with children of the universe, right? I like to say that it's a village that so you might find that children are prominent in your life as the moon moves through Leo, which it will start doing in the middle of the night, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Through the weekend, the moon will be in Leo. It's a great time to be social when the moon's in Leo because Leo is a fire sign, loves the stage, loves to get out in front of people. At 9:28 p.m. Saturday evening, Venus in Pisces will square Mars in Gemini. Now, this is the divine feminine, Venus, and the divine masculine, Mars, in a contentious relationship with each other. So this could be fights that break out between men and women. It's tension. It can also be like attraction. Sometimes it's like chemistry. I mean, could be great in the bedroom. Let me just say, that's a place where this square might be awesome. And then at 10:38 p.m., Juno in Aries will be in a sextile with Mars in Gemini. This is a nice energy. Juno represents committed relationships. And so after we have this contentious thing, then there's like a sweet energy between like commitment and the male principle. So this could be the tension could be resolved quickly and easily, maybe. That, as long as you're not dealing with a fixed sign who holds on to stuff. Fixed signs being Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Those are fixed signs. They like to hold on to things. So if you have any of these signs in your personal planets, maybe you hold on to things a bit too much, right? And then next Sunday, the highlight for the week that day is that there'll be a full moon, which will be exact at 12:28 p.m. So we'll see that full moon Saturday night. The sun will be at 16 degrees and 41 minutes of Aquarius. The moon will be in Leo. So they're opposite in the skies. Oppositions can bring up a tug of war. Lunations bring out the lunatics in people. So people can be extra cray-cray. So watch this weekend for the crazies out in the world. I mean, next weekend for the crazies that might come out. It's also times of completion, of letting things go, of releasing things. So if you're like wanting to let go of a bad habit or change a pattern or let go of a relationship, doing that around the full moon adds extra potency to be able to accomplish whatever it is that you're trying to release or let go of. I think with fire sign too, when the moon's in a fire sign, it's great to do it with a fire, like write the things you want to let go of and burn it. That's one ritual that you can do. But again, that's a week from today. On Sunday the 5th, we'll have our full moon, culmination, things coming to a close at that point. So those are the major transits I see for this week. Again, check out my dailies for more specifics on a daily basis. Let me know if you want to schedule a private session with me. I've got the links to my website and my email below. And check out the videos I'll be posting separately for each sign. I'll be going into the week. I'll draw 3 cards for each sign, a recent past, what's going on right now, and what the week ahead looks like for each sign. So make sure you check those out. Peace.